Hey, White Rick 85, this is the 5th year we have our mineral pit right here. Every year we seem to learn something, a little bit of what we did the year before, what works, what seems to be a better product. And this year I'm kind of doing a combination. First year we did Sportsman's Choice Record Rack. Second year Imperial Whitetail 30-06. Third year back to the Sportsman's Choice Record Rack. Fourth year we did Lucky Buck, which I have right here. This year I'm actually going to do a combination of Lucky Buck and Trophy Rack 465. And basically the 465, if you haven't seen it before, it's the Trophy Rack in a pulverized form. It's not a complete powder, but it looks like big chunks of rock salt, say like you're doing on your driveway in the winter. Last year I found with the Lucky Buck, worked great. 12 hours after we had put this down, we had our first deer in here, and which is great because you can see this pit right here. It's not disturbed. They're not digging at it, so it's not like they're used to coming back here because there's minerals still in the ground. They're gone. So this Lucky Buck really attracted them, and we saw a lot of traffic in here for the first 30 days or so. And then after that it started to drop. But if you read the recommendations from Lucky Buck themselves, they do say come back and refresh your site about once every 30 days with about 5 more pounds. These are 20-pound buckets, so you put down 20 or 40 pounds, you buy one more bucket, you come back once a month, put about 5 pounds down, refresh it, and there you go for the whole season. So, but what I'm going to do, since I may or may not be able to get back, depending on my personal life kind of thing, I wanted to use the Trophy Rack as a combination because I know that's going to last longer, especially with those big granules. This Lucky Buck, very powder, looks like salt, basically table salt, and that looks like rock salt. So that's going to last a lot longer. And I'm going to put that more towards the center because this actually does fill up with a little bit of water when we get some heavy rains. And I'm going to put the Lucky Buck around the outside and let that slowly drain down towards the center. And then one last 4-pound apple crush, and really I'm only throwing that in because I got an end of the year deal for like $2 or something like that. You don't really particularly need that in there, but I'm gonna put it in there just because I have it. So definitely recommend a combination. I would also recommend the Imperial Whitetail 30-06 mineral supplement and the Lucky Buck together. I think that would be a great supplement for the deer. Again, if you guys are watching this in August, September, October, remember next year, this is April. It's April right now, probably won't put the video up until May, but now's the time. April, May is when you want to get this stuff out here. Right now the deer, the antlers may be an inch, a couple inches. If it's a real big one, they may be a little bit bigger than that. But don't bother with this stuff in the fall unless you're basically trying to attract deer and it's legal in your area. Of course, consult your game laws before you do any of this kind of stuff because certain states have certain rules and you just can't put it out. Pennsylvania, you can, as long as it's gone before deer season, and that's what we're doing. So, highly recommend Lucky Buck and a combination of something. If you can get this Trophy Rack 465, I like the way, I'll show you some of the granules when I cut the bag open. Nice and chunky. They're going to last in there a pretty long time. When I did my fire pit chat, I had mentioned I'm going to use this. A couple guys told me they do use it. Highly recommend it also. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clear this all out, get a little bit scraped up, and we'll come back and we'll go ahead and put our minerals in here. And here's this Trophy Rack. As you can see, the size of it, pretty good. Some of those are about as big as a dime almost, and some of them are smaller, but basically like the rock salt. So this stuff is going to last, and that's what I like about this. I'm putting 60 pounds of this 465 in. Yeah, calcium, phosphorus, salt, magnesium, zinc, iron, copper, iodine. So all the stuff that both bucks and does like at this time of the year. Bucks, of course, for the growth of their selves and the antler, but of course the does themselves passing those minerals on to the unborn fawns at this time. They still have about a month of gestation to go, so you want to get the does in here and that passing along, and you're going to have healthier and bigger fawns. So that's why I'm saying to get this out here April, May, and earlier if you can, get to it and get this out. Don't wait till late hunting season. And again, if you're watching this in September, October, bookmark for this for next April and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to get that going early. I'm going to get this going in April next year. And here's the lucky buck. I'm going to go and put around the outside. Again, guaranteed after 2 years if you don't see bigger racks. Now, since this is a smaller property and there's a lot of things going in and out of here, if I really said, oh, I didn't see any change, I don't think that would be fair to them. But you got a big property and you're not seeing the change, guaranteed money back. Here's your $18 back. This is about $17.99 normally everywhere that I've looked. And here's our guarantee number certificate right there. And the lucky buck, again, it's very granular. You can see it's like table salt or even finer than table salt. So that's why it sort of soaks right into and you have to come back and you got to refresh this. So I'm going to put this around. So I'm going to have the salt. It'll be like a big giant donut or a croissant for the deer, and they're going to come in and they're definitely going to enjoy this. More in here than it seems like 20 pounds worth. And then when you're done, you have a nice bucket to use for some kind of storage around the house. I kept the ones from last year, and I forget what I'm using them for, but I got them full of something. And I'm definitely going to take this one home too. So here's our pit. They're definitely going to come in and they're definitely going to hit this thing, get the vitamins and potassium, calcium, all those good things that they need. That apple crush block actually had cracked. I put it in 2 separate spots, and so that's a little bit bigger. I know that's going to melt a lot slower, and that's going to drain into the soil also. So this is a good spot. Again, I'm going to put a game camera up. We're going to visit a spring right over here and see if we can find where it's coming out of the mountain. And here we are over the headwater of this particular spring. You can see it bubbling out a little bit right under this clump. And actually all this area is just a little bit wet right in here. So it's coming up right here. It's basically starts here, a little bit on the other side over there, and then flows down through this pretty channel right here. So there's a lot of deer, a lot of bear, turkeys, all the wildlife coming in here and getting this. We just walked over from the mineral pit. We're probably 80 to 100 yards. So this is a perfect location, nice water source. I almost feel like getting a drink of that myself right now. Just used the rake, raked a little bit of this out, and maybe it made a little bit of earth and dam. Nothing major. The next big storm, it could actually just wash back out again, and it would just be like it would be natural. But now we got about a 3 to 4 inch pool right in here, filling nicely with some nice fresh water. A little bit easier for the deer to come in. Some of the water that's under these leaves, you actually have to scrape away to get to the leaves. This way it'll have just a little puddle right here they'll be able to come over, get some nice drinks. Again, the mineral pit right over there, perfect water source. So keep those 2 things in mind when you're doing your mineral pit. So this White Rook 85, signing out from Camp Goat Time, deep in the woods, Pennsylvania.